Hello YouTube, Ronan Kazi. Have something special. It's not the special thing, but it's something special today. So some of the things that make you fall in love with games are intrinsic. They're not necessarily Easter eggs, because Easter eggs are like a one-time thing, but they might be mechanics that are pretty fun. And that's Roxy, everyone. So we're in the Division universe, and there is a faction called the Cleaners. And the Cleaners, imagine that they're people from the fire department and DPW, have decided that they're going to, quote unquote, clean things with the virus. And so they have a horrible thing that they do to people they suspect that are carriers of the disease. But they also have an inherent weakness. So this carries over into Division 2. And with most factions, they have someone that has some type of weak point that you can exploit. But this is really about games that you like, the mechanic that happens. It's something that you enjoy doing in and of itself. This has nothing really to do with leveling. This has nothing to do with gameplay. This is just something for pure, unadulterated satisfaction. Now, right now in the Division 1, I'm using an MDR, which is a rifle, which is an assault rifle that's a single fire. And I eventually switched to I got fans galore, YouTube. I'm eventually going to switch to a sniper rifle because it gets the job done more. Look, I turned both those off just for you, YouTube. Because shouldn't you be able to enjoy this? Oh, there's a mistake. Now, in this pursuit, one of the great things is, look at, when you make a mistake, you only get a headshot. And pop goes the weasel. Normally, this is when I ask you to like, subscribe, share, unsubscribe, resubscribe, hit the notifications. This is kind of the start of the branching. It might not be every single video, but you know how to play the Division, you know how to play Division 2, but now you just need gooey goodness. I'm also working on another video. I don't want to promise in the days. What happens is sometimes I get a block of time where I can produce videos, and then in my mind I have a schedule of what's going on, but in reality that doesn't fall out. But I have a special guest for an upcoming video that's something completely different. This is a little bit different as I start to branch out on the channel. So thanks everyone that's been along for the ride so far. I always try to give you some of the core things you came for, but you might need some goodness also too. Gamer cannot live by XP alone. Sometimes you need the mana of exploding tanks. Oh, sorry, headshot. Sorry, YouTube. So my setup in the Division 1 was I had pulse. You get more critical hit and critical damage. You sometimes will see that flash on the screen when I'm doing it, but I mainly want to see, oh, there's another one. I want to see where these guys are. And I think I have a M700, or it's the, it's not the, maybe it's not the M700, but it's that family. And I never was a good sniper. So usually the people I'd run with would beat me to that, but I always loved when that never gets old to me, especially when they start screaming. And then they blow up. The really elite thing to do is, what I like to do is I like to put their canister on fire and then do a headshot. I don't do any of those here, but that was normally what I'd like to do. And you see when you're close, it's just absolutely nothing. You can see a weird thing about the Division versus the Division 2. Like, they just left you off at level 34 that's where the enemies were on the more difficult. That's an obvious giveaway too. It's not very well thought out. Some of these guys, you can hit their little backpack full of grenades and they blow up. That's what I was trying to do there. I'm sorry, YouTube, for failing you. This guy's going to peek his head out, and he's going to be happy that I don't give him a headshot. And there he goes. Now, whoops, sorry. That was just gratuitous, YouTube. I am so sorry. Sometimes I can't help myself. So when the Division 2 came out, this was one of the worries, and you didn't really have that faction. But you have those crazy scavenger people that come running. They have like spice or some type of drug. You shoot their drug thing and they get woozy. That's pretty funny. But then the expansion for New York had cleaners again, and that's fantastic. And you know what? That's beautiful. It was kind of hard to find this. I went to the subway morgue. There's a bunch of them. That's where the cleaners, that's one of their missions. There's also Broadway, I think, is a mission, and there's like an emporium thing, and they're in a mall.
New agent has joined your team.
But that's the thing about games that keep you coming back. There's some things that you like to do that you don't really need to register. You don't need to get an achievement for. Just in and of itself, it's just good, wholesome gaming. So now I'm in Division 2, and it's a little bit harder because I'm on Heroic, but a Desert Eagle won't let me down here. I fake to this side, we come back around, and there it goes. A little bit of anticipation. But the animation is nearly the same. I want to blow that up. There's this grenade bag, and that's fantastic. So there's a couple things you can do. And this is unfair. Sorry, YouTube. Not being very consistent, but I'm going to shotgun the melee guys. So that's one of the things. What in the games keep you come back? Like, what is the mechanic that you really enjoy? This is a kind of nuance in the game. You know, when you can hit backpacks. Destiny 2 has some of that. Using the environment. The Division 2 have a lot of that, where you can use the environment to... in fact, that gives me an idea, like for a video, would be like run through a Heroic with just killing things with environmental stuff. Be kind of hard, but they do have it set up. I end up making my way to a... they're on one of those speakers, and so I just have my way with them there. And when I'm recording it, I don't have the sound on, so you're going to get the goodness of the hissing of the gas releasing and then waiting for it to explode. One of the difference between Division 1 and Division 2, when you shot it pretty much on anyone except an elite, named elite into Division 1, it wouldn't kill them. They had a great mechanic. When you do a street boss, you'd shoot it, and then the street boss with this thing on fire would start running to you. That's what the yellows do in the Division 2. You won't always kill a yellow by hitting there, and you're going to see that here. But game mechanics are important. There are some of the things that keep you coming back into games. A lot of games, it's different. It doesn't have to be something as overt as this. But that's just one of the little things I think that made the Division and Division 2 great games. And the fact that they bridged that between the games is great. I try to zoom in so you can get a good look at it. But the sound effects are also great. I'm going to try to do Baldur's Gate 3. There's a lot of hype on that. I like RPGs, not really fans of the controls. And although D&D gaming world is good with a lot of the checks and everything, sometimes the turn-based gameplay is a little tedious for me. So I think it's important, though, to, have one or two of those games, because that's the mechanic that all games are based on. And so that's part of the reason that some of the games are how they are, because back in the day, before you had maybe the shooters, when you had these MMORPGs, they'd be based on an RPG, role-playing game, desktop games, and you'd have the 20-sided die, and you'd roll all this for the probabilities. And that's really where you can see that in a lot of games. There's a few games you can still play the game. One is actually Dungeons and Dragons. It's on Steam. It's a free-to-play game for most of it. And that has some of those things, and it's kind of real-time-ish. And then there's a bunch of other ones. Larian is the one that is doing the Baldur's Gate 3, and they have a couple other games that I have. And it's good storytelling, but also the gameplay is a little bit different. So where you go from the Division to Diablo, that's just really the difference is at what level you're seeing it. Why is it isometric on Diablo 4 versus the Division? Because in Diablo, it's giving you the feeling you're attacking 10, 15 mobs at a time. In the Division, you might be going against 4 or 5. It's not really these hordes of people coming in. And that's one of the reasons why I use the Vial Jammer. It's not glamorous, right? If you could pop someone's tank or break their shield or do something, that's much funner to see visually. But like in the Division, I'm always just trying to, except for now, I'm just trying to get my loot. Now, there was a lot of this, and I apologize I didn't do transitions in and out of the scenes, but there was just a lot of cuts. I wanted to give you incoming fun. A lot of bang for the buck. So this is Ronan Kazi talking about things that make you keep coming back to games, some of the mechanics that you love about games, pop-in cleaners, tanks. Say that fast 3 times. It's always been a favorite of mine. So thank you, YouTube. Appreciate it. Thank you for subscribing, sharing, and liking. I'll talk to you soon. Ronan Kazi out.